The African elephant is the largest land mammal in the world, and those in Kenya are some of the biggest. They are also one of the smartest, on par with our closest relatives, the great apes, in terms of intelligence. But it's not easy being an elephant, especially not lately. Droughts throughout Kenya in the past few years have forced elephants to go outside of the reserves and national parks to look for food and water. When elephants leave the safety of the protected reserves, they become vulnerable to poachers who have recently taken the country by storm, poaching elephants at a rate not seen since before the ivory trade was banned in 1989.
Only it peaks most of the time when we have droughts, and this is just because most of the elephants tend to go outside of better place to survive and all that, and they get killed. So I think that's why it peaks most of the time, because elephants tend to go to different places and maybe meet different people, like people who are intending to do the same thing, like poaching and all that.
One of the impacts of this increase in poaching is a rise in the number of elephant orphans, whose mothers are murdered for their long ivory tusks. Poachers don't usually kill the younger calves, since they have little to no ivory at that age. As a result, most of these ivory orphans are left to starve without their mother's milk. But a few lucky ones go to the David Sheldrick Wildlife Trust in Nairobi National Park, essentially an orphanage for elephants. Here, the elephants can socialize, play, eat to their heart's content, and heal from the wounds of their past. They are taught how to behave like real elephants, rolling themselves in mud to keep the burning midday African sun from burning their backs. And like any typical toddler, they're curious, investigative, and sometimes they can be a little bit naughty. For those elephants still in the wild, though, the challenges they face are numerous. A one-off sale of the old ivory stocks of several southern African nations in 2008 is thought to have stirred up latent interest in ivory as a luxury item in several Asian countries, such as China, which has a rapidly growing middle class that can now afford to purchase ivory for the first time.
The values, as you know, the values have increased significantly, and that's percolating back down to, the people with guns, the criminals within our society, and they're killing elephants again.
And for those most deeply involved with the wild elephants, like researchers at Save the Elephants, an organization dedicated to understanding elephant choices by studying their movements, the losses are felt particularly close to home.
I got a message that there's a shooting going on, so I was witnessing the whole thing, and we called KWS, we called the Samburu County Council Rangers, we called everyone, knowing that it could be again one of our females. And the guys kept updating me, the scouts on the ground. They say, now they're actually removing the tusks. So they put me through the whole process of what was happening. And in the morning, very, very early in the morning, I took off, went to the scene, and actually found it's one of our old matriarch called Hop. And she is known, a lot of people know her. She's a resident female. She survived so many droughts, she survived so many awful incidences, and now these awful people, evil people, actually caught up with her. This time of the year, when it's really difficult, these elephants tend to leave the park and actually go and look for, better pastures and green pastures. And this time of the year, it's towards those hills that you can see. That's where she was. And for them, they've just killed an elephant. But for us, they've killed a family. They've killed, a whole, society that normally depend on each other.
One way that stakeholders are combating the illegal poaching problem is through the involvement of local communities in their fight to protect one of Kenya's greatest treasures.
But what we've managed to do is to bring communities together to see real benefits mainly through tourism, but also through providing stability in terms of their society and from security. So improving the security for people, so that's a direct benefit that's attributed to elephant. Revenues from tourism, again directly attributed to elephant. So communities are seeing a real value in keeping elephant alive as opposed to killing them. But But in every society you've got criminals, so people are killing elephant, but communities are positioned to really to inform government, to recover firearms that have been killing elephant from within their own society. And so there's a dynamic within a community that is stopping elephant being killed. But it's, you know, with very significant success, but under real pressure.
One of the most obvious ways to inform local communities about elephants is through their children. School children are a regular fixture at the Sheldrick Trust in Nairobi, and Save the Elephants does outreach programs with schools and communities around the reserves where they work.
You see, like the Samburu people, they have these wildlife conservations, like Westgate Conservancy. We have Kalama and all the conservancies. So that one will add more to these people because they have the conservancies, they have knew the importance of this wildlife. But all this has been happening like in Seoul district. That means with places with people who doesn't, the communities with no conservancies, you know, and maybe people has still have that mind. So I think unless we all focus on that, find ways of like, if they want to start conservancies so that they could see the importance of all this wildlife, it could really help, and everyone have to open their eyes and look what's happening because no one will tell exactly who is poaching, who is doing all this to them.
Through community involvement and engagement, experts hope that the rampant poaching outside of the reserves can be quelled so that once more elephants can roam for food and water in relative tranquility.